as a young advocate, you've just come back from Cambridge, and you want to start your own practice. What was the state of the country at the time?
No, when I came back, there was an elected government, and things were somewhat stable. There was democracy, but I think I was very, very fortunate because such an opportunity very rarely someone gets, because two of my closest friends, they were already in the law practice, and we three of us, we formed a firm, and it's probably a rare thing that has happened. All three of us were later elevated as High Court judges. All three of us served different high courts, and now all three of us, we are in the Supreme Court. The ARY, you see, I don't want to name them, they created a situation as if martial law is going to be imposed. I wish every time there is a threat of martial law, the courts remain open. I wish they were open on 5th of July when General Ziaul Haq was removing an elected prime minister. I wish they were open on 12th of October when General Pervez Musharraf had thrown out an elected prime minister. If anyone had attempted to remove unconstitutionally an elected prime minister till then, Mr. Imran Khan, then it would have been a test of the Islamabad High Court whether it stands up to uphold the Constitution or not.
Thank you, Justice Minallah.
With your permission, if you don't mind, if you recall, when George W. Bush in 2005, in his inaugural speech, he made a declaration. He made a declaration that the United States would support democratic movements around the world, and that they would not support any oppressor, nor they would ignore any oppressor, and that they would not forgive any oppressor. But I can't blame anyone, because every nation has its own priorities and national interests, but probably George W. Bush forgot about his declaration and gave a red carpet treatment to General Pervez Musharraf, and things then changed. And that also changed. You see, the reason why I'm saying this is that the people of Pakistan are extremely resilient. They have struggled, they have resisted unconstitutionalism, they have resisted authoritarian rules for the last 76 years. But it becomes more difficult for them. It becomes more challenging when the outside world endorses the unconstitutional authoritarian regimes in these countries in the developing world. It only makes it difficult for them.
Absolutely.
You see, firstly, our constitution is a parliamentary democracy-based constitution. So the president is merely a figurehead. He doesn't have any power. So the only immunity is immunity that has been given to the president. So I'm of the view that it is not very significant. But in my opinion, a prime minister was dismissed from his office, an elected prime minister, because he took the plea that there was a presidential immunity. Yes, the presidential immunity was there. And the Supreme Court, in my opinion, with great respect to the Supreme Court, could not have removed and dismissed or unseated the elected prime minister on that ground. So immunity is not there as far as the prime minister is concerned, who has the powers as an elected prime minister. But as far as the judgment is concerned, I think I wouldn't like to comment on that because the chief judge is also here. On the 9th of March, since there was a very prolonged authoritarian rule of Pervez Musharraf, so on 9th of March, when the Chief Justice was detained in the Army House, and then he was suspended, not only suspended, for me it was not Iftikhar Mohammad Chaudhry. For me, it was that constitutional office of the Chief Justice. It was the question of independence of judiciary. It was not the individual. And I felt bad. And I said, as I'd learned a lesson in my life, so I didn't know what to do. The lawyer organization took 2 days to take the decision. But the same evening, I wanted to register my protest. The Chief Justice was brought back to his house and detained there by the law enforcement agencies. For me, again, it was not the individual. It was the institution, it was the independence of judiciary that was undermined in such an blatant, unconstitutional manner. So that night, I didn't know what to do. So I probably had thought of doing something very drastic. So I have a mentor in my life who was one of my partners, my very dear friend, and who's in the Supreme Court, Justice Yahya Afridi. So he knew that I'm going to do something drastic. So he said, no, what you should do is file a petition, and I'll also be one of the petitioners. So I filed that evening, on 9th of March, a petition of habeas corpus. And it is paradoxical because if you go through my petition, it says to the Supreme Court that your Chief Justice is in illegal detention in the colony where all the judges reside, and I need a writ of habeas corpus. And our lawyer was our third partner, Justice Mansoor Ali Shah. So that petition, first I went, they were not entertaining. On the 10th of March, and I was all alone. I tried my best. Then I really asked them that I want to see the acting Chief Justice. So the registrar gave it back to me with 12 objections. So we had to file an appeal. That appeal was never fixed, and that petition was never taken up by the Supreme Court. And the most strange thing was that this was a petition for the Chief Justice of Pakistan, who was detained by the law enforcing authority within the Supreme Court judicial colony, and all the judges could see the premises from their residences as well. But only recently, I wrote a note. The personal data of my 2 sons was put on the social media and obtained from a government organization. My wife, who has nothing to do with politics, and they had made up a documentary. Yes, those are challenges. But that is a test of a judge. That is a test of a judge's independence. But the wonderful thing is that those who used to propagate against me till 2022, things all of a sudden changed. They came on this side of the rostrum, and the other side was then on this side. Today, there is a different propaganda from those who benefited from Islamabad High Court when no other high court was giving relief. But that again is a test of a judge. That determines the people's confidence in a judge or a court. And a judge must not be afraid of criticism. Yes, it hurts when the integrity is doubted or aspersions are cast on the integrity. It does hurt. When I was leaving, I was told about this August gathering. I mean, so many things were said, but I've always believed in one thing. It is the truth that always comes out and always prevails. A judge has taken an oath. He or she must be prepared for these challenges. Yes, momentarily, it affects the family members. It does.